In today's episode, we will go over how to play Wukong. So, Wukong is a bruiser champion that has a kind of a weak early game. You want to do your first 2 clears, usually just without ganking or doing anything, and then fight at level 6 once you have your ultimate. Your strongest point in the game is at Trinity Force, which is on 1 item, then on 2 items, and as the game goes on, you drop a little bit in power unless you're really fed and you're snowballing the game. So, as I said, you just want to do the standard clear, so I'm starting top and clearing from top to bot lane. First tip during this game is jungle general, that is always look at your minimap while full clearing. Here I can see that Kennen and Ornn are fighting, and they kinda teleported on the minimap, so I noticed that Ornn used flash and pinged it even before my Kennen did. It's very important to track that. Then I look at bot lane and I see that they're fighting, looking to come and contest, but trash dies too fast, so I decide to just run towards the blue buff and continue doing it. Now I finish my blue and then run into the river and I start the scuttle. Now there is a chance that Shyvana would be here, but in that case I would just drop it and go top crab. And now here I see that enemy bot lane still didn't base and they have to crush this wave, so I'm pinging my bot to start fighting them in order to stop their base and run there. They already killed the enemy ADC, which is a bit unfortunate for me as I would like to get early kills as Wukong, but I do manage to get this bike. I use my flash just because I don't know his E timing, which is my bad. I didn't follow the fight completely, but better safe than sorry, and you take the kill. Early kills on Wukong are very important because they accelerate you and you manage to get the Trinity Force much faster, which, as I said already, is your strongest point in the game. Now, I love component maxing on Wukong. I don't like buying Sheen. I don't like buying only one big component for Trinity Force. I prefer getting all the small components until my inventory is full, and then I prioritize Phage, DX, and Sheen as my third option. I just standardly open my top. Now, while doing this camp, I am thinking that if Shyvana didn't appear on bot lane, she probably started bot side and path towards top, killing the top crab, so I am not too scared of her invading, but the funny thing actually happens, she is invading me, so I quickly WE smite, I get the camp, and I don't chase her anymore because I cannot really catch up to her. This is weird, but she had a red buff, which means that she actually started topside, she did her Gromp, and then skipped wolves in order to invade me. This technically gives me an opportunity to invade her raptors here, but I decide against it because enemy support has priority and he can move first if the Shyvana pings, and then I will just waste my time and not get the camp. Also, my mid laner is basing and Xerath will actually be first on the map, even though he died. So I just take my 2 remaining camps, but here on the Grump I try to do a little neat trick, and that is waiting for 5 minutes and 30 seconds in order to kill the Grump, because at that timer you get an extra jungle treat for your pet and you go below 21, which upgrades your smite, and you have 1000 damage smite, which is kinda important here because the crab is spawning right next to me and the drake is up. But unfortunately I do kill it 1 frame too early and I actually don't get the upgrade, but the idea is there and that's what matters. I still see that my bot lane has prio and my mid is fighting and he's winning, so I just want to take the crab as fast as possible before the Shyvana comes. But then I see that Shyvana is trying to gank mid as level 5 and I'm 6, so I go for a quick counter gank. A bit unlucky that my Yasuo didn't ult here. He would reset his passive and he would have a bigger shield and survive, but I do get 2 kills, which is insane for the Wukong. I shove the wave and I immediately start running towards my top jungle. Now, why do I do this? Because I need only 600 gold for Trinity Force, and 1 full clear with buffs up is enough just for that, and then I can decide where to fight the Shyvana. So I just do my red Krags Raptors, then I do the wolves, and I have to wait a tiny bit to do the Grump because we delayed it in order to try and get the upgraded smite, but it is what it is. In the meantime, I'm looking if I can maybe fight bot, but we cannot really do it since Thresh is in base, so I just decide to do the Grump. Now, after doing the Grump, important thing is I skip my blue buff for tempo, because if I do the blue buff, Shyvana could theoretically start the Grumps, or maybe she starts the Drake, and then I am in a situation where I have 2k gold and I have to fight her or just let her get the objective. This way, I base, have full Trinity Force, I open through mid, Drake is warded. If I see Shyvana open on Drake, I run towards the Drake and try to fight her. But then if I don't see her anywhere, I can guess that she is either on grabs or doing a camp or trying to gank. So I just run towards the grabs, I see that she's not there, so now I am pinging my bot lane to be careful because maybe she could be ganking bot. While doing the grabs, I see that my cannon is inting a little bit on top, but then I noticed that he survived the combo, so now he's gonna stun the Ornn and he's probably out, so I'm not stopping my grabs. I would go and take the free kill if Ornn survived, but he ends up dying to the tower. That's completely fine, it's 1-for-1 and I take the grabs, I don't mind it. And I just take this crab, and now I know that my Krags are respawning, which means that Shyvana's Gromp should be spawning soon as well, and I have Smite, so I can maybe try and yoink it really quickly. I also drop a pink ward dip. I realize that her Gromp is not spawning yet, at least not for another 15 seconds, and I think that's too much time for me to waste, so I start running towards my Raptors. But then I see the Shyvana, she drops a ward, I quickly pop the ward, that's great. Now I can walk towards my Raptors, and I just clear Raptors, Wolves, Blue Buff, and Gromp. Why are we skipping Krags? We're skipping them because they would kill our tempo, and then we would be late for any bot play. I noticed that a lot of things is happening mid, but now I do notice that they used a lot to kill him, and they're kinda split, so I take the opportunity and jump onto the Kai'Sa immediately. As I said, Wukong on Trinity is OP, so I'm not really scared of fighting here. I just continue fighting them, and we take a quick kill onto the Shyvana, and now I can just take the dragon for free. After taking the dragon, you immediately press base to reset your tempo, and now for the second item, Wukong has two options. First is Thunder Sky, and second is Black Cleaver. You usually take Black Cleaver when enemy can buy a lot of armor, which here kinda is true. Ornn and Shyvana can build armor. Also, Pyke sometimes goes Death Dance, but to be fair, thinking in retrospect, I would probably go Thunder Sky here, because the Ornn is playing against the cannon, so he's not gonna build armor anytime soon, and we're turbo ahead, so the Thunder Sky could actually help me snowball the game faster, and then if I need Black Cleaver as my third item, I could go for it. Here I open on the Krags, then I just go over to the Blazcone to be ready if I need to jump over and help the cannon, but I realize that I don't, so I just jump over towards the red. As I'm done with the red, I realize that I have mid priority, top lane based. I can look to invade this blue buff, and I'm pinging my Yasuo that I want to fight this, but my Yasuo unfortunately decides to try and dive the Xerath while the Pyke is walking towards mid lane, so I'm looking if I can kill the Pyke. I realize that I cannot, and I still go into their jungle just because I'm really strong. Here I can just smite, Q the blue buff, I take it, and I am basically out of here while dealing a lot of damage to the enemy team, but I do have to waste my flash. It was a bit of a greedy play, but to be fair, I also didn't expect the Kai'Sa to be there. If she's not there, I think I could honestly 2v3 without a problem, but then my Thresh plays this really well, and I take 2 free kills. To be fair, maybe if I played it a bit better, Thresh survives, but yeah, my bad. Thresh, if you're watching this, sorry bro. Then I just want to see if Shyvana did her Raptors. She somehow did them while we were fighting, so I drop it, I go and do the crab, and while doing the crab, I'm thinking about the plan. Now, usually if you have enough gold to finish your item, you should do the remaining 2 camps, Gromp and Wolf, but since I don't have enough to finish the Black Cleaver, I'm just gonna base instantly, buy Pickaxe and Ruby Crystal, do my Gromp and Wolves after this, and look to make a play after those 2 camps. Turns out that somehow she did her Raptors way before, so I see that on vision, and I decide to go on to the Raptors. I do see Shyvana that she did Krags, so instead of immediately starting the Raptors, I wait behind this wall, she appears, I chunk her a little bit, and then I go back onto the Raptors. I just one-shot them, and then I'm looking if my team wants to play, but my idea is that I want to cross into Shyvana's top side to stop her from getting top camps. My team is really strong, so we're just able to pressure like this and take the entire tower. After taking the tower, I don't really want to fight anymore, I want to take the camps, but my team manages to get 1 kill. I walk into Shyvana's jungle and try to look for her camps. I see her, so I chunk her a little bit. Once I start the wolves, she appears again, so I just jump over because I know that Kai'Sa was seen bot, Xerath is mid, and only person that can realistically help her is Ornn, which cannot really stop me. So we manage to take Shyvana's ult and flash for my ult, take the camp, and then we go and do the Rift Herald. After doing the Herald, I do the crab as well. We go over to the mid lane, we kill the Pyke. Unfortunately, Kai'Sa dodges the hook, so she survives. But here, instead of going for the Drake, I do an interesting play, which I don't think a lot of people like to do. It's giving up the Drake break and just playing for pure gold and pressure, you just herald the mid tower and you continue attacking it, destroy the tower, we take the inhibitor. As well, my Victor crashes the herald into bot tier 2, and we managed to take 2 easy towers instead of doing a second Drake that won't really help us because we will end the game before Soul even spawns. Unfortunately, we do overcommit a little bit here, I think. Pacing and playing tempo is probably the correct choice, but since we're ahead, I try to play it. We go for the tower as well, but then I kind of waste my W, and that costs me a lot because I have to flash over Ornn's QE combo, and then I just die to Pyke's ult. But my team manages to clean this fight up, which is amazing. One quick Wukong tip is always think about your W usage. Don't waste it. It's your most important spell after your ultimate, because it will get you into range, it will help you dodge important spells, it also boosts your damage, so sometimes you use it for the DPS as well. It has a really long cooldown since you're maxing it third. And the reason why we max it third is because the reduction of its cooldown is not worth as much as E's damage and attack speed buff is worth. And E's cooldown is also very important because you have it basically every 5 or 6 seconds, which is amazing in fight. You can just jump over multiple people. Also, you can use E, then ult to engage, and before your second ult, you will have another E. But after walking out of the base, I'm spam pinging top because once again, I am Wukong with 2.5 items. This is one of my strongest points into the game. So you really want to force this. You don't want to do your bot side. You don't want to farm camps. You just take what I call travel camps, which is basically red buff and raptors, because that's how much time my teammates need to join me. Quick note, if you're this Yasuo, never do this. Why are you doing wolves here? What do they accomplish? Absolutely nothing. You're only late for the play with your team. We open onto the tower. I know that I'm strong enough to just walk melee range and just ult this Ornn and kill it. Now I'm using my spells and movement to dodge Xerath's abilities. He does hurt a lot, so maybe instead of going for third item Death Dance here, it would have been better to go for Mav of Malmortius, but fair enough, I just ran out of the base really fast, and Death Dance is, I don't think, ever a bad item on Wukong. So we just continue taking the tower. After this tower, we go on to the Nexus, and here, while hitting the Nexus towers, an unfortunate thing happens. My mouse goes a bit insane, so it zooms in and out and left and right, but in the end, we do win the fight. Guys, this is my first time doing a voiceover like this and trying to explain my thought process and explain how to play certain champions. So if you enjoyed the video, I would really appreciate commenting down below and also giving me any suggestions on how to improve these videos in the future. And also comment down which champion you want to see next. Bye bye!